Alright, we are here with Eternal Wanderer in the command zone this time. I've seen this a couple times. I still haven't seen someone play Zatalpa, but I've seen this in the opponent's command zone a few times. It does have a lot of good options in artifacts, and I think that's where a sizable chunk of the power comes from, because it can keep the board clear and safe because, you know, you've got all of the sweepers in white, while also, I mean, the -4 is kind of also a sweeper. And you can flicker artifacts and stuff that don't die to your own sweepers, right? Like flickering Portal, it's probably lights out. I mean, Portal, if it isn't dealt with, is probably lights out, but flickering this is funny. That goes for a lot of the artifacts in this deck, right? I don't really like Solemn as a flicker target, but it's also good to just have it die to a sweeper, so you don't feel too bad about having that happen. But for the most part, it's kind of meh for 4 mana, really. Just like a Rampant Growth and replacing itself is not really that exciting, but I don't know. I had Zatalpa in here for a second. It is another large threat that was surprisingly good when I was playing it. It gets around a lot of the removal in the format, but there is a fair amount of removal that still deals with Zatalpa, so I'm currently not running it. And if this is my commander, I don't think I need Zatalpa. I've never seen a Zatalpa, probably for a reason, but I'm just trying to find a reason to play the card, alright? So we got all that kind of stuff going on. Werefox is good because it can exile people's commanders, and a lot of the time people don't keep the card under this, so it goes back to the command zone, and then you're back to not really caring if it gets blown up. And if they replay their commander, you can flicker this with your commander, right? And I like that. I like that. If it was different, then like that's the thing about Fiend Hunters is they just do what I said, right? There are not many creatures in here. I'm not even really big on this Overlord, but it's an interesting thing to have sometimes. It doesn't seem like Wandering Emperor, or excuse me, the Eternal Emperor. No, the Eternal Wanderer. Jeez, good lord. It doesn't seem like the Eternal Wanderer needs help closing a game out, but it is certainly slower, a lot slower, than Zatalpa is, right? So I would make the argument that Zatalpa does actually play a significantly different game plan with a fairly heavy amount of overlap between the two decks, and I find that kind of interesting. So I haven't played this one yet. Let's see how it goes. Let's play that. I'll use the Buried Treasure next turn. I've been a fan of this card. The Discover 5 is pretty useful. It's actually incredibly useful. That only has one target, and it's a target I don't care too much about. There's a lot of tap lands. I can play my commander next turn. There's no counter spells, but what my commander's doing isn't really that amazing. Still gonna play it though. Opponent does have a demolition field, so alright, we did it. We did it. We had pressure. I guess they didn't have a board wipe, and even if they did, this is showing up later, and they'd have to deal with this again, so I actually did it through what is essentially just mono removal. I like Portal in this matchup, but the rest of the hand might not be fast enough. I don't know, Arcane Signet's really good though, right? I'll try it. I might be able to do something. This is a good card, so that was also a pretty good card. This card, I keep seeing this one now. Let's play this. This just sets up my commander instead of like a random token. Ooh, Victor. Nice. Alright. Well, there's no wash away. I will actually plus here because I value the value. I don't really care too much about a 2/2 double strike. There's probably a lot of value in getting a land in play here, especially with this, right? Seems like a lot of value in that. Oh no! So I would have a 2/2 double strike in this spot instead of a land. And most people would probably agree that the land is a bit better. A little surprised to see them even wipe this out here. That's kind of interesting. Although I could just actually do it again next turn if they didn't. So, alright. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Okay, so this, always playing this so I can portal, and the fox? Sure. Get rid of this. Don't really care about this unblockable thing here. And I don't want to crack this because I want to draw an actual, or, well, I could still draw and then scry for a land. It's a lot of looks at a land. It's not unreasonable. Does this have to choose? Apparently not. Interesting. I'm gonna do this. Portal doesn't even look good right now, so yeah, we're just gonna draw. Portal does not look good right here. Suppose I'll lead with the draw again. Hedron Archive. I do not need it to cast this. Okay, I won't miss this. I expect a counterspell. Wow. Alright. Never mind. Never mind. Huh. Okay, that takes out my stuff. I don't know if that was a good idea. Another problem is it actually resets my tome if I ever deal with this, and there's a pretty good chance I end up dealing with that, honestly. So, hope for Noah Braid. The last time Koth actually beat me, I got a little mana screwed, so let's hope that doesn't happen here. They actually had a Braid. Wow, okay. They actually had it. Look at that. So, well, things are repeating themselves again, where I'm just going to lose against Koth because I got mana screwed. It's the only time it's won. Maybe that's the only way it can win. I don't know. I played it for like 3 hours and won a single game. Boy, did I try. They also have a 1-mana spell. Of course they do. Cool. Well. Fascinating. 5 into Gilded Lotus into kill Koth. Does that make sense? Sure. Makes sense to me. Makes sense to me. Ooh, I love to see this. I think I'm going to draw 2 off this artifact. Because I don't know what my commander's really doing. So, we're going to just draw. This flickers... Okay. Do I draw again? Do I kill Magda? I think I'm going to kill Magda for the sake of it. Just to get it out of the way, and who knows what that could mean down the road. I have the Meteor Golem to take care of Koth anyways, it's not going to ultimate. But there was absolutely an argument to drawing. I can see both being reasonable. But they already kind of have like all the mana. But yeah, I don't know. They get rid of 3 cards. One of them is Cityscape Leveler. Okay. So I have to Meteor Golem. Is that the only thing I can do? Yeah, it looks like it. Alright. It is what it is. They don't really have a good Cityscape Leveler. Although they kind of do. But I have 2 seriously big deals in play for Cityscape Leveler. Okay, so now they probably have to kill the Meteor Golem. I don't think they could just plus. They have to kill the Meteor Golem. That seems like an interesting exchange. I don't know if I am totally down with that. But now Meteor Golem does... Oh wait, no it doesn't. I have this. I can spree away the Cityscape, so it can't do anything, right? All creatures lose all abilities. Sure. They can do it again. Okay, they don't. All creatures lose all abilities. I don't know if that means it loses haste. Does it lose haste? It does. Okay, good. And I think the Unearth still happens. Yeah, it still happens, even though it technically lost all abilities, quote-unquote. Alright, now we're just yeeting ahead. I should have used the mana to cast this, that's my bad. Probably doesn't matter. I also don't have to deal with Koth, but I will, because, well, why not? There's not much they can do to kill me with, like, reach damage, so I'll just draw. That was a good draw. Alright. I am ahead in certain aspects and others not so much. I mean, only casting Koth does not seem like a winning prospect. But the 2/2 double strikes are probably useless. They're okay, I'm not drawing nothing here. Come on, deck. Need you to get me there. I'll draw maybe one more time. Alright, calm down, deck. I could just White Sun Zenith. And make a bunch of stuff, but I kind of expect them to have an answer, like a red sweeper or something, so it doesn't really feel too impactful to do that. Also, I drew another 2 lands, if anyone was curious. Okay, I have that covered for a lot of reasons. I have that covered for a lot of reasons. Okay, opponent's drawing a bunch of lands too. Love to see it. Okay. Again with the lands. or ramp. So I can do this for 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I will do it for 13. But there are, again, plenty of red sweepers. Or, I mean, just more than one, so. Plenty of red sweepers. Alright, they didn't have them. They actually did not have the red sweeper. It's like Brotherhood's End, and I think there's one or two more. I think Pyroclasm is in Standard, I think. But there is one that, no, Slagstorm. You have Slagstorm, and I think Brotherhood's End or whatever. So 2/3 mana deal 3s to the board that I'm aware of. And I guess either they weren't running them or didn't have them. There are not too many equipment cards, but I think I'm solid if I just mulligan for a sweeper. Okay, this is probably still good enough. Yeah, this is fine. If I'm not going to have a sweeper, I'll have something like this. That's right. I will play this and hope my opponent doesn't have Demolition Field. I can't imagine they do. I don't think I've ever seen this in the command zone. Not too many equipment in the game, in Standard. Technically that is one of them. Let's play this one. Oh shoot, maybe I should have named Samurai. Could have named Samurai there, actually. I don't really care about this fox. It's probably fine, though, let's be real. Probably not a big deal. Okay. You got it. Sure. Still no equipped creature attacking, at least in the same turn that this would exist, so... Alright, never mind. I've been corrected. Didn't read the card. So, do I fox this? Probably, right? Is that a bad idea? I'm full of bad ideas. Let's find out. Please don't be a creature? Okay, it's not a creature. I believe they do still get the card back, even if it's not a creature. Okay. I can plus my bodyguard. Oh, okay, never mind. Say, plus my bodyguard to flicker the fox and actually deal with the creature. This is a lot of equipment for what I would have considered very low equipment count in Standard. I guess I was wrong. I think I'm still moderately okay, though. I have, like, answers. Still not board wipes, but, I mean, probably fine, right? What does this actually do? Okay. That is interesting. Does that make me want to do anything different? So I'm going to exile the token because they can't get it back if they blow up my answer. And I suppose I can just pass the turn and make my opponent commit a bunch of mana. But I also would like to just play this. I think I'm just going to play this here and blow up the chainsaw. No. Yes. I don't like the chainsaw here. And if they don't deal with my Lauren, I can blow up another equipment with my flicker. And it is a legendary, so I do have more mana than I appear to have. I do have this up. The equip on this is 4. Super steep. Sure. Whenever an equipped creature you control attacks, which they currently don't have any, right? They probably don't turn this into an equipment. Probably need the mana. They already have enough equipment. I don't see why they would want to do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, because it's a legendary. So if I draw a land, I just win? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yes. Does that change anything? How crucial is it that I still cast this? Okay, because they're doing that, I should just deny that. I don't want them to trigger their commander. Okay, I did draw the land, so probably just win. Probably just outright win here. This is a serious discount, though. They have to deal with Portal, though. I don't think they can continue their game plan as long as Portal's in play. They're going to have to do something, right? I can just flicker the Portal repeatedly. Okay, I'm going to flicker this to just get rid of the creature. And while I'm super far ahead, I will take this opportunity to get rid of equipment as the game goes on. So, actually, you know what? I'm gonna blow up the. I'm gonna blow this up. There we go. I'm not even sure if they turned it into a mana rock or an equipment or not. I'm not even sure, but if they did, I blew up an equipment. If they didn't, I blew up mana. Alright, cool. Well, I haven't lost a game yet. There's been a wide range of opponents, too. Okay, so I was just wrong about the amount of equipment in, in Standard. There's a lot of equipment. This was probably going to be castable every other turn for the rest of the game, just how many equipment there were, but... Ooh, the Wandering Rescuer. Oh, oh. Alright. Again, no board wipe. I feel like there's so many board wipes in my deck. Am I wrong about that? There's one. It's not really a good one, though. Ugh. Ugh, okay, I guess. It is one... It is one, so... There's another. Would like to have something on turn 2 here, but it's alright. This costs, what, 4 mana to activate? Alright, yeah, I'll just send it. What do you got? It's going to sit there until you deal with it. Choose 6 lands. I will probably just send it right now. If they don't really... I don't really know, actually. Okay, so that makes me really want to just send it. But I do not have to just send it. I could just play this. I really could just play this. Okay, I'm actually going to play this. It stonewalls my opponent's attack. Well, sort of. Not really. And it also means if they don't deal with the Silex, well, guess what? It still exists, and it's before the turn that they could flash this in on the other side of it. Oh. Okay. In the face of the Silex, that is... I mean, it denies me a card, but still weird. Still weird to me. Oh, shoot, is there a... Was there a Planeswalker in my deck worth getting? I'm not even sure. Might have made a mistake there. Could have paid 2. I don't think there were. I don't think there was a Planeswalker in my deck worth getting. Okay, well, they could have denied me... Well, wow, never mind. Alright, well, your deck doesn't do anything at all except this on turn 5. Yeah, your deck literally doesn't do anything except that, so... Alright, apparently I was completely wrong. I was as wrong as you could get. Opponent does in fact have something else to do. Let's play this into... I really don't want to commit ossification, but I probably should. Because it is half my life total. Alternatively, I could just not. Okay, I'm going to play a weird game here. I'm just not going to do it. I don't really trust ossification as the right play. I would like them to either cast another creature, or I can't see myself dying here. I think I would actually survive the Cavalier of Dawn, or whatever the white Craterhoof Behemoth is. I think I would have survived it there. Alright. Let us blow up the board for 5. And then I can cast Lauren to block so I don't die? Or does that even matter? Does that matter? It probably matters. I'm going to cast this so I don't take 6. I don't see it as being something that I'm going to regret having cast now. I can even use it to draw, right, and then flicker it and naturalize later, so it's not totally useless. I can also just take 6 here. Nah, I don't really like that. Okay. Interesting. Well, if you don't take one of these mites, it's a 2-turn clock. Now you can't swing unless you seriously plan on blocking. Although I can see this as winning if you have a way to not lose your Wandering Emperor. Okay. So I'll play this then. Okay, it worked. Oh, go back to the command zone, please. Please. Oh, it didn't. It didn't go back to the command zone. I'm still swinging. I'm still swinging. Okay. Wait, what? Why? What? They could have blocked the... Well, now I make a second blocker. Right. I mean, yeah. What is going on here? Okay, well, now I'm not dead, because I gained 2 life. And they didn't block one of my mites, which is a 2-turn clock, so now they either have to find a way to outright kill me, kill this token and crew this, or just not swing. I feel like they really wanted to do this in combat. Which I would have had the answer for it later, after the fact, right? So they were kind of screwed either way, but just to not get 2-turn clocks by these. Okay. I'm not going to go through every standard card that's face down just to min-max my opponent, so I don't really know what this is. Okay. That still doesn't do it. I am literally not dead, right? This... Okay, my opponent just left themselves dead on board. I'm not sure why they did that. There was no reason, like I said, they almost had it though. They actually almost had it. A way to equip, or excuse me, a way to crew, and a way to remove my blocker, but they didn't. I don't really know if I agree with that, because if you're, I mean, they're aware it doesn't kill me, so I don't really know why they tried to go for it. They could have just played defense. Now, it's a really bad position anyways, but you're not dead. You're not dead if you play a different way, so, oh well. Sure. Okay, random card. Equip. You can discard to equip. Neat. Which I'm sure... Yeah, does the descend stuff my opponent wants to be doing. Okay. No, you gotta swing first. No, you gotta swing first. No, you gotta swing first. Oh no, opponent. Oh, never mind. You just equip the same creature. I'm stupid, right? Never mind. Never mind. Okay, so this takes some more damage, and then fumigate. Or blow this up to take way less damage. I think because my hand is so good, I'm just going to blow up their commander. Sure. I'll get rid of something that I deem irrelevant, probably Staff of Completion. I don't see myself ever actually using it in this game. And let's let him go to combat. All right. Alleviate some of the damage here. Kind of a weird use of that, but it's probably right. It's probably right. It just saves me a lot of life. They're still just randomly descending here. By the way, they descended a land and they don't have another one. Just for like in-play pressure. Which is looking like it's gonna work. Oh boy. So, uh-oh. 5, 6, 7. Alright. I signed up for this line. I have Fumigate. It does give me more health back. Alright. Evolving Wilds is some damage, or a counter, right? Couldn't they have done it before combat? Wait, how does this read? No, it's end step, right? Yeah, never mind. Okay. Hey! I remember that card. So, this into Get Lost. Do I get lost now? No, wait. I'm not convinced that the text on this matters, so. Opponent actually went to combat first. Look at that. I will discard Gilded Lotus. Right? Sure. So, they're probably not casting their commander for a while here. But I am at 9. Ooh, love to see Stone Cold Nothing. Hello. Alright, so I can play my commander. Seems kind of weird. Kind of weird. Honestly, a lot of my options are weird. Let's just do this. It means if my opponent has more creatures, I have that covered. I don't see my commander as really doing anything. They could also maybe have some... It's a lot of removal they could have, honestly. Oh no, my portal that I probably couldn't cast. So now that I have just nothing to do, I'll just make a 2/2. Yep, there's the card I knew about. No surprise there. Alright, random discover. Alright, cool. So, my commander's coming back next turn. And it's pretty hard for them to deal with it twice. Or at least the commander and the token it leaves behind. Alright, so this seemed extremely good. And I'm surprised I haven't seen it played a bunch. Possibly because there are a lot of strategies that are very good at doing what this is also good at doing, which is dealing with the board. Right, that is just extremely powerful in standard right now. Creature strategies are very, very difficult to pull off, and this exacerbates that, right? Like, this has all the answers to creatures. It's a bit weaker to counterspell decks, I guess, but the counterspell decks are not super common, at least from my experience. You could run Cavernous Souls. There's not a lot of creatures in here, but it might just be free enough to simply run Cavernous Souls. I don't know. To me, it's not super necessary. There's a lot of times where just another Plains is just solid, right? If you only have like 3 lands early and you really want at least 2 of them to be white sources, I think there's a lot of arguing that Cavernous Souls isn't worth it. But again, you could just simply run it and not really notice. The Commander flickering, basically half of my deck, is really good. I was really impressed with a lot of the targets you can flicker with the Wandering Emperor. I actually really like Solemn Simulacrum more than I thought I would. I was surprised how many times people were scared of this card and just killed it. Or actually, I think a couple of people even exiled it. I was like, okay, sure. I'm not going to flicker it, but I'm not going to draw a card. It just didn't seem like the scariest thing for Eternal Wanderer to flicker. Right? Additional lands or 2 lands a turn after a certain point start to become a little meh and not terribly relevant to any given game, but, you know, cool. If people find it scary, then maybe it's just worth playing. The Silex, where is it? Urza's Silex is really good at stopping a deck that likes to have a bunch of lands in play, not simply just blowing up the board, which it also does do. I was impressed with this. Now, it does kind of blow up your stuff, which is, it's not that exciting, and I don't really have a card in here to pay 2 to tutor up, like another Planeswalker. You could, I mean, there's not really many options for Planeswalkers in Standard, right? Like, I wouldn't run a Johnny. I probably wouldn't ever run this. I guess Karn, because we are playing a lot of artifacts. Like, there's maybe an argument to just putting Karn in here because of Urza's Silex alone. But the Power Stones are also alright. I haven't actually played this in Standard. I don't think I've even played this in Historic. It's pretty low power. I kind of wish it was the other Karn, but, you know, can't have everything in Standard at the same time. Standard for a reason. The ability to win a game was not very difficult, right? A lot of decks just concede once you've shown them that you're ahead and they can't deal with the Wandering Emperor. A lot of people just give up. There's plenty of games where I can just win at my opponent being at 25 life, right? So if someone doesn't like the idea that I don't have a lot of creatures, well, you don't really need them if people just concede all the time to Wandering... I keep calling it the Wandering Emperor. You know what I mean. My commander. Portal to Phyrexia does completely stop any game dead in its tracks until it is dealt with, right? So your opponent can't keep you off the board as long as this card is on the board. And that's just insane, right? I would like... I would really like 2 cards a turn. Spamming cards like Phyrexian Arena and all that stuff the blue and black have. Just drawing 2 cards a turn is an extremely powerful thing. It is probably stronger than any other thing you can do in Standard right now. I mean, there's a lot of Standard cycles where that's true, but especially in a singleton format, every time my opponent was drawing more than 1 card a turn consistently, I had quite an uphill battle for myself. And the other way around, if I had my Maze Mind's Tome drawing 2 cards a turn, I was pulling ahead very decisively. So 2 cards, if you can manage more of that effect, I would highly recommend it. It is extremely powerful. Staff of Completion costs a lot of life, but again, it does what you want. This gets rid of a card when you draw, but for the most part, when you discard something, you're always getting rid of the weakest card. You're turning the weakest card in your hand into a random card off the top, or drawing a card, and then maybe that card is bad, well, now it's gone. Now you won't draw it later. So I would say draw discard is about as good as 2 cards a turn, because you usually don't feel bad about discarding one of the cards. You have the option to do this, you would just take it. I didn't really get to exploit this card. I would have liked to have flickered this more, but it just never came up. Can only play so many games, right, to try? It just never really came up, but this would have been cool. The one time, or one of the times I played against this, they had this getting spammed, and I'm like, yikes, that's a lot of constructs that I just could not deal with. Arid Arcway in basically every mono-colored deck feels very good. It lets you kind of just keep 2 land hands. I'm just a fan of this. There's been a lot of demolition fields and that other one, and I think it's even a third one that blows up lands, and then your opponent searches a land, just symmetrical land destruction thing. You're never really upset with that. Your opponent has to invest a lot of mana, or a fair amount of mana, into doing that, and nobody did it. Not a single person that was playing Demolition Field or whatever in play, they didn't blow this up. So, it was like, alright. Cool. Inspiring Overseer is in here. It's nice to flicker it with Eternal Wanderer, but it is a creature, so it is soft to sweepers. You can, play this, exile this, and then cast a sweeper. I'm losing my voice. I'm sorry, I'm losing my voice. But I don't know. It felt like maybe the weakest or one of the weakest cards in here. Guardian was cool. I think a fair amount of the flickering I did with it felt win more. Let me flicker Portal to Phyrexia to edict you again. I think my opponent is way out of the game if they didn't deal with this. I untapped with this and got to flicker it. I think my opponent was already losing, so I don't really know if I like this as much. It's not Restoration Angel. That one has Flash. It costs 1 more, but the fact that this targets artifacts as well is nice. I just don't really know if I'm just not feeling it as much as I thought I would. Same with the Vampire, the Prince, Charming Prince. Now that only flickers creatures, which I don't have many, but yeah, this effect is eh. And Inspiring Overseer is also kinda eh. It is solid against certain strategies. If your opponent kills this, it's worth playing. If your opponent just killed it, it's absolutely worth playing. But for the most part, I don't envision this getting killed consistently if I just cast it on my hand. It's just sitting there. Unless, of course, I go to plus on my Eternal Wanderer. Once you start trying to get the value engine, then I can see them justifying the kill on it. But if they do just kill it up front, or even honestly counter it, I feel like that's kind of a win, right? You always never feel too bad about your opponent just countering a card like this. Maybe against Malcolm, because it just stops Malcolm from attacking and draws you a card, plays itself, but for the most part, not really too upset with that. The spot removal felt slightly too light for 1 or 2 of the matchups, because they'd have a really go tall, scary threat, and I felt a little light on that, but the sweepers also sometimes take care of said giant tall thing. Not like Zatalpa or anything, or it's honestly not even really Cityscape Leveler because of the Unearth on it, but for the most part, you kind of have it taken care of. I don't actually know if it's better than Zatalpa, because the core deck, again, is pretty similar, and Zatalpa is surprisingly difficult to deal with permanently, right? If you even deal with it in the first place, it's hard to really deal with Zatalpa. Whereas this can really get dealt with. I know the mana cost is very different, but for the most part, all the counter spells and whatnot, Zatalpa has Cavernous Souls. That is very significant on dinosaurs. This does not. I'm more of a fan of Zatalpa, I'm gonna be real there, but I think this is solid. This can also get hit by Negate. It is not a creature, right? It does get hit by non-creature counter spells and whatnot. And its -4 can be sweet, but your opponent, knowing about its existence, will play accordingly. If they can't deal with the -4, they'll play in a way that makes it so they don't lose half their board, or their entire board, their whole hand, just casting it into your turn 6 or 5 Eternal Wanderer, if you have a Mana Rock. So, I don't know. I would say maybe shave 1 or 2 Mana Rocks. I might have ended up putting probably 1 or 2 too many. Maybe just go down 2 rocks, up 1 land, and then just another random high-value spell or something might be fine. There's certainly some finagling, but I was impressed with this list. I did say counterspell style strategies were my weak point, but I still beat them. It wasn't like they were unwinnable, right? So there felt like there were no truly bad matchups, which is a good place to be. Standard seems to be in a solid spot for a lot of different viable options, and this was certainly one of them. So let me know what you thought about it. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. My voice is really going. I'm sorry, probably cracking all over the place, but it's going.